What is the value of an unanswered question? Or what is the value of a question without an answer? Because I would argue that's where humanity is. Think about it for a sec. All right. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that the world was without meaning, completely devoid of meaning. He said that, like Sisyphus pushing up a rock to the top of a mountain, the gods cursed him for the rock to fall back down the mountain and him to push it up again and again throughout all of eternity. And that's what humanity is like, struggling without definition or purpose, struggling to find meaning. But he believed that there was no meaning to it at all. And he said that this was the absurd. And there were a few options that someone could go with. There was the option of suicide, which Nietzsche didn't like so much. There was the option of being deluded and just ignoring it completely, ignoring the meaninglessness of life. Or, for three, there was the option of giving in to the absurd, knowing that life is completely meaningless, but just being happy about it just cause. And honestly, like he viewed that as rebelling. I honestly could never quite agree with this logic, because you're rebelling against an indifferent universe. Like, the universe doesn't hate you, it's not against you, it's not for you, it just is what it is. Things happen, and rebelling against something that's indifferent to you is just a bit silly to me, and I guess that's why they call it absurd. But I never could quite get that option myself, so I'd like to extrapolate a little bit. What is the value of a question without an answer? Well, it's quite simple, actually. If the answer is that it has value, then life itself must have value, because humans are questions without answers. We are a half without a whole. An answer by itself is just that. It's whole. It doesn't need a question, but a question needs an answer, or is not complete without it. And I think humanity is a question in that respect. That we don't feel complete. And that oftentimes when we are alone by ourselves and searching for meaning, we just come up short, we come up empty, and it sort of festers in ourselves, and it can lead to a lot of existential depression, thinking that life is meaningless. So, let's take the first option. No, life doesn't have meaning. Questions without answers have no meaning. Specifically, generally, everything in life doesn't have meaning if life itself has no meaning. Therefore, there was no purpose in worrying about meaning. There was no purpose in struggling to find purpose. Do you understand? So, if life has no meaning, then there is no need to worry over it. There is no need for you to agonize over it. There's nothing tying you down to the purpose or weight of the world. But, and this is the option that I like better, if a question without an answer has some meaning, has some inherent value, that's where humanity is. That's where our purpose is. And I would like to believe the latter. I like to believe that these questions, these things that terrorize us late into the night, have a purpose. And if they do, then so must we. So, to summarize this sort of rant video essay thing, either life has meaning and all of these questions that we continually ask ourselves have meaning, or life has no meaning and these questions don't need to weigh us down because they have equal value to life itself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Give a like, share with your friends. If you think someone is having trouble with existential dread or just enjoys philosophy, I would very much encourage you to share this video with them. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think I've figured out the meaning of life, or at least that there is one? It's sort of akin to Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Like, he figured out that we may not be human in reality. We may not. All of our senses can be twisted, so we can't trust any of our senses. But because we think, we must exist in some form. And while that's not a great answer, at least, hey, we know we exist. And yeah, so I'm following up Nietzsche's thing with if life has meaning and if it doesn't. It's not so much original as it is just sort of an extrapolation and extension. Although, I don't know. This is the first time philosophy itself has gotten me to think that life must have meaning in some form, even if we never find it, even if we can't see it. I love you guys.